Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 58th episode of Concerned Dabs podcast. I am your host, Katie M. Kane. Our guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is Lady Furnish. I believe she's out there on the East Coast, but she's been all over and she has a whole bunch of cool stuff to talk to us about tonight. Are you with us, Lady Furnish? Can you hear us okay?
I'm here. I can hear you loud and clear.
Awesome. So, I'm thankful you tuned in early, and we
Yeah,
we were able to troubleshoot which device and everything we're gonna use for audio and video. So, thank you for taking the time to do that. It makes a huge difference, and it makes everyone else's job easier. But
yeah,
so on the flyer, I always try to come up with like a cool little 10-word sentence, right, to say what the people are gonna talk about, and I was messaging you like, "Hey, how about this?" And you're like, "Yeah, that's cool." And then like 2 minutes later, you're like, "Actually say this." And you're like, "No, actually say this." She's like, Sorry, I should have said that from the jump." I'm like, "It's
right.
cool, man. Like for real, I want you to be happy with how you're presented and like whatever your brand is, I would like you to represent it however you choose to, I don't want to we try to keep it ganj, but we've got a lot more entertainment folks who are really awesome interviews and involved in cannabis too. So we've been leaning that way the past few months, and
Right on.
um, you actually came recommended from old boy Cali Love. So
Right
it's
on.
like,
And
yeah,
shout out, oh boy, Cali Love.
yeah, yeah, man. He's a really cool cat, man. Like,
Yeah, he does a lot of good work in the community. I've been following him for a while now. It would be really awesome to connect with him and people in his community one day in real life, which is like one part of my journey, which I'm sure we'll get into later, is like just the beauty of how social media can bring people together who are, trying to obtain the same goal. It's a lot of fun.
no doubt, I agree, and creating cool content around it too, man. Because I've been to a lot of conferences for cannabis and shit, and it's like I rarely am impressed by the guy speaking into the mic, but sometimes I am, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm like waiting my turn to ask a question," and he's just like, "This guy right here, what's your
Right.
question?" And that those times are fun, but they're few and far in between. So I dig the interview part of it and talking to people one on one and letting them share their stories. So um, the topic of the show, I guess, was cannabis inequality in the industry. um, I don't know where you wanna start. I guess my question is, like, how did you get involved in the industry and start, like, becoming, where are you from originally? Whatever you wanna say as part of your origin story. It's like, let us know. Like, it's our first time meeting you, first time talking to you, so
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, I will say I'll make a clear distinction right now that I'm it's not so much that like I'm against the industry side of this whole, cannabis movement thing, whatever you want to call it. It's just that I'm against oligarchies and,
Yes.
just monopolists and watching the same, rich white men who were screaming lock them up in one decade. The next, they're saying, owning businesses in different states and making millions and billions of dollars. That's the one thing that like irks my nerve. And so
Yes. Yes.
I'd say I call what I do is call out the bullshit in the industry as
Yeah.
much as I can. I'm not like I wouldn't say I'm some, uh, internationally known person that has a huge following and,
No, no,
you
no, we
know,
don't care. We don't care because, the message is what's important, and honestly, I dig a lot of what you're saying right now, and on the show, I have to be somewhat journalistic, right? On my social media, I can be like, "Yeah, fuck these guys,
right.
fucking chads," you know what I mean? Like, whatever. But on my show, I gotta try to be somewhat objective, so we need someone like you to say what you're saying right now, and share your experiences with it too, like, because 'cause I'm sure you've been in multiple states, and,
Right.
I'm sure that's, you know, so keep going. I'm sorry for interrupting,
Yeah,
but, like,
no,
yeah,
actually, I'm originally from a very small town in Florida, Central Florida, called Lake Wales,
Lake
and
Wales.
yeah, look it up. It's right outside of Orlando, like
Okay.
a little
So
route to
is
the
that
south.
Disney World is in Orlando?
Yes, so you
Okay,
could go
cool.
to Disney, you could go to Wet and Wild Land. There's all kinds of theme parks and stuff like that. But
Tight.
so yeah, exactly. That's what you think of when I tell you I'm from Florida, but you just go maybe like 30, 45 minutes south of that and it's like a, rural area, small town, cow pastures everywhere, orange groves,
That's
there's
cool. You guys have,
yeah, I
like,
mean,
alligators and shit down there?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Damn, fuck, I don't know, bro, like, like, I could randomly run into an alligator when I'm walking down, like, I don't know, like, that's I would
My
really
mom's
need a
got
gun. I would
alligator
need a
skin.
gun at all times, you know, like, fuck.
My my mom's got like tanned alligator skin on the back of her couch. Like she's proud of it.
Dude,
She caught
tight.
it. So
She
that
caught
being
one? Is
said,
that what you're saying?
yeah, yeah, she caught an alligator. I mean, they go fishing and hunting, and she's that kind of girl. My mom.
Tight, tight.
Yeah, she's a unique individual, that woman there. Uh, she has two cows right now that she's raising. That's funny to talk about. But anyway, so being I'm from Florida, like I started smoking weed when I was the first time I ever smoked, I was 13 years old,
Word?
and uh, I don't know. I got into a lot of stuff when I was a teenager and in my early 20s and all that good shit. But
Yeah, yeah.
but
I
just
want yeah.
growing up in a place of like real strict hard prohibition, like Florida does not fuck around, And then
Neither
when I
does
was
Idaho.
I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah. But they're good for those potatoes.
yeah. Word.
But anyways, so I I moved to Colorado when I was 25. I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to see some shit. I'm going to go somewhere where it's legal to smoke weed because I'm not going to quit smoking. No. I'm just going to go somewhere where I'm not going to get in trouble for it. And so I did the whole Colorado thing. It was fun. Um
What year did you move there?
20 It was 2015.
Tight. So you, like, did the bud tender thing or, like, the production thing? Like, what was the or you
Well,
were just
no,
on
I
the
was more of just a consumer when I lived in Colorado. I
Oh,
was
okay.
just like, I remember the first time I walked into a dispensary, I was just like, oh my fucking God, this shit is crazy. Like, I just walked in and bought legal weed. I got a bag in my hand. Now, where do I go to smoke it? That was the only issue. But no, Colorado was cool. I really liked it because like I feel like out of all the states that have legalized on some level, that Colorado has really, I don't know, done it better than most other states.
I
But
I
that's just from off of what I know. Like
yeah, they wrote it really well.
I
And
just
you can still grow your own, right? It's like
Right,
six
exactly. That's
plants
what
or
I was
something.
just gonna say. I appreciate that, while yes, there is a dispensary every other business when you drive downtown in Denver. That's awesome, but at the same time, like people are allowed to grow too. And at when I was first living in Colorado, that really didn't mean much to me. But
Yeah,
now that I've lived in Maryland, and growing up in Florida, I've realized like how important that is to people to be
yeah.
able to grow their own weed.
It is,
And
man.
now I'm out here like digging holes in the backyard, making gardens and shit. Like I've come a long way.
Good for you, girl. Good for you. Mitchell's like, yeah, Mitchell made a dope ass garden this year, man. He sent
Right
me the
on.
fucking the plot on, you know, he had it really organized too. I'm like, dude, this is gonna kick ass, man. Like,
It's so much fun. It's really a
yeah.
lot. Just getting your hands dirty and watching things grow. I'm like have this new excitement when I wake up in the morning. I was like, I gotta go outside and check my plants and see how like they look different today.
Yes, dude. Yeah. So in the state, are you in Maryland right now?
No, actually, that was my next move was to Maryland. I lived
Okay.
there for a year. Actually, it was like specifically to work on this political campaign to get rid of this congressman who put this crazy like budget rider on DC when they passed in 2014.
Oh, there's always a bunch of shit hidden in the back end of that, man.
Right.
Just like a fucking mortgage loan, yo. It's like they don't read past page 30, man. Put in page fucking 53 and it's good, you know?
Right, right. So no, this congressman, his name is Andy Harris. He represents a congressional district in Maryland, and my roommate now, who is also like kind of my boss. It's a dynamic relationship. Um,
Work.
he 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 started working on a project where he rented a house in the congressman's district to rally people to vote against him in the next election so that we could remove this rider that's currently on DC,
Yeah. Wh-
prohibiting like sales and basically like legal recreational dispensaries. We don't have any of that here because of
yeah.
this rider. So it's pretty ridiculous. It, puts people at risk because people are still having to go to the black market and buy shit that's like unregulated, untested, blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah blah.
dude.
People are getting shot at pop-ups and it's just like all bad news.
Dang. Yeah,
And it
that's
gives,
rough,
it gives
man.
the whole
Cause
thing a bad reputation.
it does. Cause man, when I was in AZ, I only had my card for the first year, but there was like little pop-up sessions where you could buy a table and you know what I mean? Everybody who comes through the door has their card, and it was like, dope. But
Right.
there was times where it didn't feel safe, you know what I mean? Where there was 2 cops in
Mhm.
the parking lot, and it's like, "Holy shit, I gotta fucking pack all this up and try and ninja
Yeah.
to my car somehow," you know? But a shooting would be like, "Fuck, there's gonna be a lot of cops outside, and they're gonna wanna
Yeah.
talk to everybody, and what's in your fucking trunk, John?" You
Yeah.
know? Like, fuck.
I mean,
So
even in
it
like
just yeah,
in the neighborhood right down the street, there's like CBD shops and things, and one neighbor complains, and you got the fucking SWAT team there like busting doors down and shit. It's like
for
so
weed!
ridiculous.
For
Yeah,
weed!
for and CBD at that. Like seriously,
Yeah.
it's just it's it's dumb. It's a waste of resources. It's a
It
waste of taxpayer money.
it
It's
totally
a waste
is.
of time. Like it's
Nobody's turning into a junkie, no kids are starving, no like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's brain is fucking rotting, you know what I
right.
mean? Like, it's fucking making us a little bit sharper in ways that we don't understand because we've just been programmed to s say it's bad.
It's
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 kinda
funny
goofy.
it's funny that you bring up the phrase, like, "Our brains are being fried." Like, I've sat in so many, hearings on the Capitol and also in Annapolis in Maryland
Yeah.
where, we sit there for hours and hours, and we wait for our bill to be called on, and we go read our testimonies, and then you get the opposition to come up there, and it's like, the things that they say are just it
Bullshit.
really it makes you wanna fucking just scream, like
And you can't
and you have to be
interject.
quiet in there.
Yeah, you already had your turn, fucking hippie, you know? Like,
That and the
yeah.
meeting is being, like, recorded, so I've sat in meetings where I've just gone absolutely apeshit in my chair and then watched it later and then saw myself in the audience and I'm like, "Okay, I have to
Yeah.
refrain myself next time because I look like a psychopath out there."
Dude, serious. I listen to every show that we do now, either on Sunday night or Monday morning, just because it's like, yeah, I gotta analyze myself. Because when I look at I didn't always have a camera when I was fucking flipping out at work or
Right,
something like
right.
that, you know what I mean? And I wish I would have, because 'cause I'd be like, "Okay, don't do this next time, John."
Exactly. So yeah, then Maryland was there for a year for that project, and then I moved to DC. So I've been here since April of last year,
Tight.
and since I've been here, I've gone to California like 4 times. I just got back from Alaska not too long ago.
Dude,
Uh,
what was that like, man?
that Alaska was cool. Like it
Was it
was,
rec up there?
yeah, yeah. The
You can
and
like
the
21 and up, you can just go to the store?
Yeah,
Damn, tight,
yep.
man.
And you can grow your own out there too. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the really cool thing about Alaska was like I'm so used to walking into a dispensary and having to like go through this front room where there's a security guard with a gun on him, and I have to give him my ID, and then they'll let you through. I'm so used to going through that process. I get to Alaska, I go to the first dispensary, and there's like none of that. They just ask you for your ID. Like you don't have to check in with some security guard, blah blah blah. It is so laid back. The
Word.
prices were depending on which
Expensive,
shop
right?
you went to. I found one place that was really good in prices because they were vertically integrated. Like they grew their
Yeah.
own shit and they
S
packaged it and everything.
Somebody
So
with game from down here moved up there and was like, "Nah, we need this, this, and this, and we're gonna crush it." Is that yeah.
oh yeah, the quality was really good too. And another thing, it's really nice to like, have a bud tender that also grew the weed that he's selling you. You can ask
Yes.
questions. Yeah, you can.
There was a few times in 2014, 2015 where I had that, you know what I mean? It's like, "Nah, I grew this Obama Kush. I didn't use any nutrients. I made the soil, just
Right.
compost tea and water," you know what I mean? Like, it's like, fuck.
Yep.
That it
Yep.
felt good, you know what I mean? And that shit sold first just 'cause, I was proud of it, you know?
Yeah, back in Florida, I was just happy to get what I could. I was getting 20 bags out of twisted up sandwich bag. Like that
Yeah,
was the normal thing. And then we went on to the plastic containers. And at that point in my life in Colorado, I don't know, I just wasn't like aware of as many things as I am now.
yeah.
Like
When
nowadays,
before we
now
started the show, I mentioned no-till, and you were like, "Ah, no-till." So, I was like, "Cool." It's
yeah,
it's cool it's cool that someone from the East Coast understands what that term means and is positive about it.
oh
You know
well,
what I mean? Like,
wait until
fuck.
I tell you what I do. So
Okay,
I
okay,
work, I do social media for a cannabis brand called Brother David's out in California.
okay.
And if you've ever heard of the soap brand Dr. Bronner's, um,
Oh, yeah, bro, yeah. My youngest
so
son's mom, she's super vegan, super healthy, like, that's the only shit she fucking uses is that Dr.
yes,
Bronner's for her hands or in the shower or shampoo, whatever the fuck.
yeah. So basically,
Dude, that's
David,
tight. That's
yeah.
your girl, you're stunting on me right now, man. Way to go.
So David Bronner, the grandson of the guy who started the company, he he created a nonprofit cannabis brand called Brother David's. So like we don't like grow any of the
Wow.
weed or anything. We just um work with farmers who are farming regeneratively in the sun, in
Yeah,
natural soil, with fairly paid
yeah.
farmers, the whole thing. And so since we
Dude.
still have federal prohibition, um, they teamed up and created this organic certification for cannabis and cannabis farmers called Sun and Earth, which actually is available in Washington because
S
we do have a few
what? Sudden Earth?
Sun and Earth certified.
Sun and Earth certification, okay.
Yeah. So it would be
I'm writing this down. I'm writing this down.
sunandearth.org.
Sunandearth.org.
And so we've got a couple of farms out there that are Sun and Earth certified. There's East Fork Cultivars. I don't know if you've ever heard of
I
them.
have. They're in Washington? Or they're in
Yeah.
Oregon?
No. Oh, you're right. They are in Oregon, but
I've
there's
seen
a
them, dude. Like,
there's
yeah,
one.
East Fork cultivars.
Now that
It's
I
like
think of it, there's a farm called Puffin Farms that is Sun and Earth certified. It's in
okay,
Washington.
okay, I'm gonna look for them, Puffin Farms.
Puffin Farms, and they grow some. I've never tried it before, but their Instagram is popping.
Yeah, there's these guys, they're called Kush Kush, Khush, and then the next one is Kush, like I don't understand. I want I hit them up, but, I feel like those guys probably get a lot of IG
Yeah,
messages and shit,
really.
and they're like, "Fuck this guy, who fucking cares?" But I'm a fan of their
Hey,
work
keep
because
trying.
yeah, I am. I'm going to, I gotta stay diligent, like, it's cool that the artist people holler back, but I want some of the weed people to holler back too. But those guys do, no-till indoor, and it's really fire weed. The way they package it is in a
Yeah.
glass jar, and you can get an eighth
Oh,
for
that's so
25,
great.
between 25 and 35, depending on the strain or whatever, and I've just been really impressed with their work, so it
Right on.
just yeah, it's dope that I'm gonna look for Puffin Farms now too, 'cause, my lady does dabs, and I'm more of a flower guy, so,
Mhm.
like, it's cool to sometimes the guy who runs the flower has an oil facility too, so it's
Right.
it's the same brand and same farm, but it's cool to shop for 2 different products at
Yeah.
the same
I'm
store,
I'm
so
more of a flower girl too. I don't I used to do a lot of dabs when I lived in Colorado, and
yeah.
I think it was just because like, oh my gosh, Colorado has some of the best prices ever.
Yeah.
I come to Maryland, went through the whole deal. I got certified and all this bullshit. And like, I get to the dispensary and I'm like, what are these fucking prices? How can anyone afford this? And so I just stopped going to the dispensary. Like, I'd rather
You get better
help
deals
out
from
my
the homie down the
homeboys.
street, yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's
ho
exactly. I'd rather
Yeah.
help out my homeboys than to fucking
He
pay
has
you.
better shit with a cooler name for a fucking lesser price, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I
Like
will say one thing, like, if black market wants to stay alive, they need to tighten up a little bit, just a little bit. Like,
yeah,
at least know what the fuck you're selling people, you know?
yeah, when I was in AZ, the 2nd year I was there, I didn't have my card, and I had to depend on homies that I had from work and whatnot, and it
Right,
would just, like I had to express to them when they had something with a name, they would bring it to me, and I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, that's what this smells like." You know what I mean? But I swear to God, Lady Furnish, I bought hemp at least 10 times down there in the last year I was there because they didn't know what it was. It like
mhm,
it had a peculiar smell that wasn't normal, like
and then you
usually
smoke it and you're like, "Nothing's happening."
dude, yeah, and I knew, and it was just like, fuck, that was the best I could get. It's like at least it's a little bit terpy, but I was wishing that I had like an SA homie with some Bammer because that would have been better off than the hemp as
Right,
far as helping me sleep and you know what I mean? So it just it is, man. Like I enjoy I'm in Spokane now and I haven't linked up with too many cannabis homies here, but I'm going to Portland in like a week or so and I hope I
right
can
on.
talk to some bros and we're gonna do the cultivation thing at the crib eventually in a couple months. So I going to the store, there's some guys I'm impressed with, and I'm like,
Mhm,
yo, this is some dope work. And the thing that I figured out how to look for is the harvest date. 'Cause a lot of
yeah,
times I'll see the name or I'll see the farm and I'll be like, "Fuck yeah," and I'll order online, but it doesn't say the harvest date, and when you get there, it's like it's all dark and fucking it's like,
right,
"Man," and there's sometimes that's okay, but it's like,
and that
it was green fucking 4 months ago, you know what I mean? And
isn't
now
it
it's dry
like the
and
the
crispy, and
older it is, like, it kinda
it
changes to, like,
does, yeah.
CBDV or something like
Yes,
that?
THC degrades into CBN, so
CBN, that's thank
if you are buying a strain that's super sativa dominant, if it was
and it's old, it
yeah,
turns kind of indica.
yes, it
Yeah,
does. So, like, if it was harvested a year ago, the effects are gonna be a lot different than you expect based on the
that's true.
harvest date. So
That's true.
that's the thing I've been shopping for now is if it's
You
fresh within the last month or 2, fuck, it's fire, you know what I mean?
Mhm. I'm glad we're talking about this because there's one thing I wanna point out, and
Yep.
I'm calling out the younger generation,
Yes.
our generation maybe, but, like, I wish I wish the demand in the market wasn't so much for, like, these high THC percentages
Yes.
because it makes
It's
it hard for
terpenes.
people like me who aren't trying to be like, like, 'cause I like to smoke throughout the day,
Yeah.
and I don't need something so heavy that's just gonna be like, okay, I can't even think straight, you know? And that's
Yeah.
all it seems like people want these days.
Well, just because it tests at 26, 27% doesn't mean it's gonna floor you either, you know what I
Right.
mean?
I
Like, it
mean, you could
doesn't,
get
and
something
it's
that's
it's
like
terpene profile.
12%,
Yes, you can, 14% SFV
and
kush,
it
right?
might knock you out. It
It's
might do the
yeah,
job.
it is that San Fernando Valley cut of OG kush. When that would come through the store, any store I was working at, if they brought in a test or we had to test it ourselves, it always came back like 14 to 16%.
Right.
And and people would be like, "Yo, that's not gonna sell." I'm like, "Yes, it is." You know what I mean? Like, watch, and it would go, and I remember going I managed, intake and inventory at this place called Human Collective in Portland for a few months, and, this guy brought some SFV in, and I was like, "Holy shit," and he wanted 24, right? And
Mhm.
I instantly was like, "How many do you have?" You know what I mean? And he was just like, "I got 2," and I'm just my boss storms in like, "We're not gonna give him 20," and he just looks at me like, "Talk him down," you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, "Fuck, can we get 2 for 22 apiece?" And he was like, "Yeah," and I swear to God, like, he came back and got his money 3 days later. Like, both of those packs were gone, and my boss understood that I knew what the fuck I was doing after that, which was cool, but I remember I didn't work there forever. It was a few months, and then I moved
Yeah.
on. Um, it was like a year later, I was at 50 Trees. It's a pretty they have a couple locations in Portland, and they're dope. They got fire on their shelf. Homegirl Catherine worked there. Shout out to Catherine. Um, I went in there, and I was just trying to get a quarter ounce, you know, I had like 50 bucks, and
Mhm.
it's like they have the big jars, so they put the jar on the counter and open it and let you smell it. And I'm like,
Oh, I
"Man, let me
love
let me
that.
look at this, and the SFV." And there's a young bartender who I could tell he's brand new, you know what I mean? Because like, he, like, looks at me and he's like, "Why do you want that shit that's 14%?"
Oh, no.
And dude, like, it was like a movie. They had an old man bartender there. He's like, you know, older than me, had the long gray beard and
Right.
shit, real
Like,
hippie
that's the
type
guy I
looking dude.
wanna talk
Yeah,
to.
like, he mobs in as soon as he puts the jar on the and he hears the kid say this, and then he looks at me and he smiles, and I'm like, "I'll take a quarter ounce of that SFV." And the kid was just like, "What the fuck?" And the old man explained to him, he goes, "He's shopping for terpenes, dude, like, he's
Right.
following his nose."
He's doing it the right
It
way.
doesn't yeah, like, it doesn't matter that it's fucking tested at 14%. That's gonna do
Right.
him how he wants to be done, and he's gonna fucking sleep good, you know, and it's gonna be alright, so pay
You
attention
know,
to that,
if
you
there's
know?
anything I learned from being an alcoholic, which by the way, I'm almost 4 years sober now, is everything in fucking
Good for you.
moderation. Everything
Yes.
in moderation. Like, I look at it like comparing it to beer and whiskey or,
Yeah.
beer and liquor or something. You know, you can you can have a glass of whiskey, but maybe keep it at 1 or 2 as
Yeah.
that. A beer, you can like right now, I'm rolling another joint, and it's
Yeah.
not like some crazy high, you know, strain that just knocks me on my ass. I could literally smoke this shit all day and like be
Yep.
cohesive and like, I can
Yeah.
function, you know?
And dude, it's strange that you say that because like, 2 weeks ago, I had, this producer rapper homie from, Portland named Six on the show, and it was my 3rd day not smoking. It's like
Oh man.
I got an interview at a casino in Idaho, right, like a half hour away across the border, and so I was like, "Man, I gotta quit smoking." He's like, "If you don't want me to smoke on camera," I'm like, "Nah, bro, do your thing," you know, and I quit for a week, and I passed the UA, and I got the job, and I showed up for the fucking first day, and I was just like, "This isn't for me." You know what I mean? And, like, I just wearing the uniform and going through all those motions and being in that place just reminded me of home and why I left, so it was just like
Right.
I've been just
And
doing Instacart and shit in the city off my phone since then, and I'm happy, you know what I mean? But it after that week of not smoking, Lady
right,
Furnish, holy
I was
shit,
gonna
dude,
say
like,
second words of
d
wisdom here.
dude, like, I'm
Don't
f
ever take a job that makes you take a piss test. Like, fuck
yeah,
that.
and
I've never
I
I've
still
never
passed.
taken a piss test except for that one time I got arrested. I had
Yeah,
to.
yeah. And it was just like, "This isn't worth it. For $13 an hour to walk through this casino, from 10 at night till 6 in the morning,
Right. Like,
it's
why do
just
you care if I
it's
smoke weed or
not."
not?
Yeah, it just and I did. I passed the test to get the job, but it was just like, "Man, I'm not gonna get the job I want doing this job." Like, I'm
Right.
just not. So, I'd rather just stay in the city and do my podcast and
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
my brother lives in Colorado now, and he's getting ready to move back to Florida and, like, quit smoking and all this shit, and
Uh
I'm just on the phone with him, I'm like, "Bro, are you okay? Like,
yeah.
why would you wanna do?"
Serious, dude. It was like a time warp, Lady Furnish. It was like going back a decade in time and being like, "Holy shit, this is why I fucking left, dude. Like,
Right.
fuck, I don't wanna
I
be
don't go
here."
back home very often, but when I do, that's
Yeah.
exactly how I feel.
Same, man, and I'm not hating on back home because like, both spots in Idaho are really close to Washington, so everybody has access, you know what I mean, and I love that, but it's just working there was like, "Damn, man." It's weird because 'cause I'm educated, right?
Yeah,
I'm an enrolled tribal member that has a Bachelor of Science degree in public relations, but I have better options off of my phone in the city than I do with my tribe on the reg.
right.
You know what I mean? Which is strange. It's weird to do the math and be like, "No, do this, don't do
Mhm.
that." You know what I mean? Like, and it bums me out, but, I I'm not stupid and I can do math, so, and I'm a vibes type person too, and it's like, when I showed up to that job on fucking Wednesday night, nobody was happy to be there, dude.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
not
I've
one
had
person.
jobs like that.
And until like, there was one person, she was a chick on the crew, they were changing the cash between there's, like, boxes of cash that they pull out of the cash the slot machines, and then they put a fresh one in there, and so they bring this fucking big ass iron cart through, and we as security guards had to monitor and make sure nobody's trying to jack or anything. The one girl on their crew, she just kept cracking jokes on me like, "You gotta work on your dance moves because we have to spin it around and stand a certain way," you know what I mean? And
Oh,
she was just
no.
laughing at me, so that was the only person, you know what I mean, that was like,
It seemed like she was
"Fuck,
just trying to make
alright,
the
yeah,
best of her
dude,
situation.
yes," and so it was just like, if I stay here, Imma fucking talk to her because she's cool, but it just I couldn't stay there, man, like, I'm just passing through. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity, but this job is not for me, and, that's just kinda the way it went, so
Right. So what do you think about this whole mushroom movement that's going on?
I think it's
The
dope, dude, like, I like mushrooms a lot, I went to a show in the Gorge in '06, we saw Tool in '06 at the Gorge, 10,000 Days tour, and it changed my life. I was on mushrooms, changed my life. Like, seriously, I wasn't the same person going into there that I was going out of there.
Right.
Yeah, so it was really dope, but, like, as I got older, when I eat mushrooms, dude, it's like my whole fucking body, you know what I mean? Like, when I start peaking, like, if I'm around people, sometimes I have to go into my room, lay down on the bed, and cover
Yeah.
my head. I have to cover my face with a towel and just lay there, and people will come in and check on me like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I just gotta calm down, I'm laughing too hard, like, I just gotta calm down, man," and it's like, "You look like you're waterboarding yourself," and I'm like, "Fuck, so sorry, like, I just gotta chill out," and dude, but awesome. So
Oh, it's
in
all
my
shiny.
yeah, in my adulthood, I like, acid, acid is a little
Okay.
bit better because I feel like when I get
Ugh.
something nice, dope. Yeah, when I get something nice, dude, that's tight. When I get something nice, it's just in my head and not my whole body,
Mhm.
but it's not like the government's gonna be like, "Yeah, make some acid at your house, man. Here's the ingredients." So, but for shrooms, I think that's dope because it is. I think that dosage is important. I think anybody listening who is gonna try and take part in that, you don't need a lot, man.
Right.
A gram and a half, that's my limit now. I've eaten an eighth, I've eaten a
No
quarter.
heroic doses?
Yeah, no, not anymore, you know what I mean? Not anymore. Like,
I
I just
think
stick with
everybody should take the opportunity to watch that, Fantastic Fungi. That was incredible.
What is that? Is that on Netflix or something?
You actually no, you can go to the website and rent it. It's $4.99 for like 3 days, or you can buy it. It's $15. But
Fantastic
you go to
Fungi? Okay.
fantasticfungi.com, and
Maybe
I think everybody should watch that.
fantasticfungi.com.
And speaking of, as you know, I'm in the district, the nation's capital. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about what project that I'm currently working on here,
Yes, please do, man. Pump up your cause, yo.
and
Like,
that
I'm
is,
I'm sorry for bullshit, man. Like, you
no,
tell me
no,
to shut
no,
up
that
whenever you
is
want.
fine. That's
It,
why I
it's
brought it
it's
up.
it's your hour, man. Like, we do it every week. Like, I want you to get yours, yo. You know,
So I'm a part of a campaign called Decriminalize Nature DC, and
decriminalize nature, DC.
yep, you can go to our website decrimnaturedc.org
Dot
and
org.
get involved anywhere in the country. If you phone bank, you can go to our website and check it out. Also, I just want to brag that our community, that just never gives up. We got the board of election to change the law so that we could collect signatures online instead of in person because of the coronavirus.
Word.
So so here's like the official petition here,
Awesome.
and we're like mailing them out, and people are sending them back to,
How how
and
long how long is that going on for? How long are you collecting signatures for?
we have the deadline is like the beginning of July. However,
Well, if you send us the link for where people can go, we can put that in the description on the YouTube video.
what's that? The
If you
link?
yeah, send me the link to where people can sign up or sign your petition, and we can post that on the YouTube video just in case anybody from your city or state is listening, then they can
Yeah,
click on the link from the YouTube video description and
DC voters. Where do I send it to? Sorry, you
send it
know
send
me
it
better.
send it to me on IG, yo. Send it on
Okay,
on IG because then I'll have a record and I can add it after the fact because Mitchell handles most of that, but I can go back and add stuff after because we both have a login for the channel. So
gotcha. So I can send you that after.
yep, yeah, yeah, and we'll put it
Gotcha.
in there. And
Okay,
then at the end, I'm gonna ask you for your social media links and anything else, and then pump that one in too at the end. Okay.
gotcha. I
Okay.
won't
Cool.
forget.
So what's the goal of your project, man?
So remember that rider I was telling you about earlier by that
Y-
congressman in Maryland?
yeah.
Well, so like other counties, cities in across the country, like Oakland, um, see, Oregon's working on it right now. You got Denver who decriminalized it. So they were able to do that. Unfortunately, we cannot actually decriminalize these plant medicines because of the rider I was telling you guys about earlier. So what our goal is actually to make it so it's the lowest priority for law enforcement. So it would be kind of similar to jaywalking.
Yeah, like fuck, there's more serious shit going on, guy.
Right. So
You gotta be
that's
really bored. You gotta be really bored to fuck with someone for that. You know what I mean?
yeah, really. And it's crazy, the FDA is saying that it's like breakthrough therapy, and Johns Hopkins is coming out with all these studies and different,
Dude,
research and things like
Time
that.
Magazine. I was Instacart shopping on Friday, and I was at Safeway checking out, buying someone's groceries and delivering them, and I took a picture. I'm gonna post it on my IG this week, but it was Time Magazine and it had a big ass picture of a nug and it said the medical movement. And I was like, you guys are like 10 years too late, dude. Like
I
it's the
know, right?
fucking rec movement now. Like what the fuck? It's just weird. It's like I've been doing my podcast for a year and you guys are like
Just getting
who
on.
in the boardroom turned the tide? You know what I mean? Who showed up and was high and smoked one in the boardroom was like, "Yo, we need to start talking about this." "You guys should all take a hit. You're not gonna get high. It's CBD. It's hemp." Like, I don't know, like, whoever that guy is, maybe, I'm making him up right now, but
Right.
maybe he exists,
No,
and
they're
maybe we
all
could
over
get
the
him on the
place.
show, you know?
They're the ones that, like, own the dispensaries and stuff, the
Yes,
ones that have never smoked
yes,
before,
exactly,
the
fucking
ones that are
Chads.
part of the community.
My old co-host Will, he would call him out, he goes, "This fucking Chads, man."
Chads, there you go.
Yeah, that's his term for it, Same, that's
I call them Bammers.
Bammers, word. Chad H. Bammer. I'm write a song called that, man.
So, yeah, we've gotta get 30,000 signatures, and, we'll be able to go out on the streets by
How many
Friday.
how many you
30
got right now?
we've got we've got 310, but that's
Uh,
okay because we're just getting started.
yeah, I'll do my
We're only
best to
in week
share that
2.
link on my social media too. Like,
I
I'll tell
won't
people,
forget.
and it has to be people from your state, though.
Yeah, it has to be registered DC voters,
Okay,
but
like,
if you wanna help phone bank, you can be from anywhere.
okay, so we had this guy, Jason Ortiz, on our show. I think it was like episode 6 or 7. He was talking about cannabis regulation, and he's a Puerto Rican kid, East Coast.
Okay,
A girl from our res, she sang a chorus for me on one of my albums I put out in '07. Her name's Cody Riggers. Shout out to Cody Riggers for hooking me up with that guy. But that's her boyfriend, and he's like a lobbyist for the cannabis, and it's like for the right reasons. You know what I mean? Like
right.
he's like you,
Oh,
lobbying for
good, good.
equality and stuff. So I'll send him the link too, and maybe he can share it on his company's Twitter or something like that too, because they're out there. I think he stays in Connecticut, but he's in DC doing
Oh,
he's
cool.
always like it was at he had video of it. He was at like one of those meetings where there's all these people in their, official
Like a
attire, and he
like a
like he
hearing?
he spread like blood everywhere, like
Ooh,
everywhere on the counter and the floor and like he I'm like, holy shit,
I'm
dude. Like
sure
this
we can
guy's
look that
tight.
up on the internet. Is
Yes,
there like
Jason Ortiz. Jason Ortiz is his name.
okay,
Very, very cool cat, very awesome interview. Just yeah, check him out. Like I think he would be a good resource for you. Because he definitely knows a lot of people in DC. So
gotcha.
yeah,
I'll check him out.
yeah. I'm a fan of that guy's work, and it just it's cool because he's uh Puerto Rican, but
Mhm.
I'm Native American, and he believes in the same things based off of his
Right.
culture, so I like that shit a lot, you know?
I guess that would be a good segue into, like, what the whole title of this interview was called.
Yeah, yeah, talk man, for real, I was for sure that you were gonna be like an angry chick, pissed off and bitching and moaning about this, and you know what I mean? But you've been super cool and positive so far, so yeah, like, have at it, girl,
I've
like,
had a lot of joints in me.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, man,
trust
so
me, that I do have that side. Don't
no,
get
man,
me wrong there.
tell him why you mad, son, tell him why you mad,
I can get real
you
loud.
know? Yeah, for real.
Well, yeah, I guess so, like, the title of the episode was what? Social or inequality.
Yeah,
And, I guess coming from, like, the cannabis industry standpoint, I feel like there's a lot of that when it comes to, the licensing process and allowing, colored people into the industry. There's always, like, one obstacle or another. It's something or
yeah,
the
man.
other.
Usually
And
usually capital, you know what I mean?
or,
Like,
drug charges that
yes,
bans them from being able to apply. It's just like ridiculous. And oh, where do I get started with the whole medical program? Like, I
yeah,
get it. I trust me, I get it. I think that everybody who consumes cannabis is smoking for a medicinal purpose, whether they know it or not.
exactly. You
Right?
can call it wreck all the fuck you want, dude,
It's yeah,
but it is because you had a fucking shitty week at work or a shitty day at work, and you need to chill the fuck out when you're at
Right.
home, and this option is not gonna make you feel like shit in the morning, so it
I just
is.
really think that the medical program is elitist, you know.
It kinda is.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like, I had a childhood energy injury that allowed me to get my card, but it is, dude, like,
right. I
like,
mean, in
access is
Colorado,
important. Everyone needs access.
right, in Colorado, I think they're doing a good job. I know I've read about a majority, like a lot of states that have some kind of like program where they are able to give discounts to veterans and, you know, people in low income and things like that. And I appreciate that. And I just with the medical program, you know, all the fees and like
Yeah.
people should just be able to grow their own or
Yeah.
get it for a reasonable price, you know?
Yeah, I agree,
Because I
like, that's
understand that not everybody can or wants to like grow their own cannabis. Some people just don't have the time for it. They don't have the desire to do it. They
yeah.
go to the store and buy it and call it a day. I get that, but at least give people options.
Yeah.
And you know, people it's just the medical program is just helping people who weren't really being fucked with in the first place, you know?
Yes,
Like
dude.
I'll tell you a story. When I lived in Maryland doing this whole political stuff, my good friend that I lived with in Colorado,
Okay,
he
I gotta run for 1 minute. Keep telling your story, please,
oh
Lady
no,
Furnish.
one more minute.
Don't trip out when I leave the screen, okay? Please tell your story.
Just keep talking.
Yes.
Okay, so all right, my friend came to live in Maryland with us for a while
Yep.
to help work on the campaign with us. And him and I were going to get some fast food one night after knocking on doors all day. And I happened to have some weed on me. And we were like right down the street from where we lived. And I get pulled over, like the cops' lights are flashing. So I pull over at the nearest gas station. And it went from like bad to worse. The cop claimed that he smelled weed on me. I told him it wasn't, you know, there was no weed smell in the car. Now my friend just so happens to had went to college with Sandra Bland
What?
in Texas. So he was like already just really traumatized by police. He's a black man in America. So he doesn't necessarily handle police encounters like very well. I'm not saying he doesn't
I don't
listen to
either.
them, but he just kind of like gets really anxious and afraid. And the cops, I don't know, they just started kind of getting crazy with him and he was afraid and ended up they like drug him out of the car, you know, just threw him on the ground, arrested him, charged him with all this weed that I, you know, admitted was mine, and they like threw him in jail. And I'm standing there, you know, still with the cops watching them take my friend away,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, you can go now." And I was just like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah,
Like I just
dude.
watched the police beat my friend up, take
Yeah.
him to jail, get all excited because they found a little bag of weed, and
Yeah.
then say, "You're free to go, ma'am." I was just I
Yeah, that's
never felt
whack.
so guilty for being white in my entire life.
No doubt, man. Like, it's terrible, man.
And he sat in jail for 2 nights. We bailed him out. He went he was in and out of court for a year, an entire year. They charged him with possession, and in Maryland, possession of over 10 grams, you go to jail for that. Like, isn't that fucking ridiculous? 10
Yeah.
grams of weed
It was
is
more than
decriminalized.
Yeah, more than 40 grams in Washington when I was in college was the rule, I think, and then Idaho changed it to an ounce, I think, a couple months after I caught my felony. I caught felony charges in Idaho my senior year of college.
Right.
I had to, like, get continuances until I could get my last semester of funding, you know what I mean? And then I pled guilty because it's like, if I take this to trial, I'm probably gonna fucking lose and then go to
Yep.
jail for
That's
longer,
how they
so
fuck you.
it is, dude, like, that's I just every single colored person in America, I'm like, "Fuck, dude," like,
Yep.
it's just something you have to accept most times, man. It's like, "Would you rather?" And it's like, "Nah, I'd rather just sit the lesser time and not deal with the stress," you know
If
what I
you
mean? It's
got a
like I
bunch
could
of
deal.
money and the news picks it up and like you might be good to go, but other than that, like we tried to bring awareness to what had happened to my friend. We had a few news people come out and interview him after his like first couple of court appearances, but I want to say they charged him initially with possession of over 10 grams,
Fuck.
paraphernalia, because I had a little pipe in there. And mind you, this was my fucking car, my
Yeah.
car, my license. Like
And you
they,
were
I don't
claiming
even
it too. You were claiming
exactly.
ownership too.
And
Like,
tell me,
fuck, that's crazy,
tell
dude.
me why they're even asking him for his ID. I'm the driver. You're
Yeah.
pulling over me for apparently, and they said I was past the white line on a stop sign.
And I just gotta say you're a pretty solid chick for trying to take the charge, and then they still wouldn't let you do it, so, like, that's
Well, what happened was because, like I said, they charged him with possession, paraphernalia, and obstruction of justice, or obstruction of, yeah, obstruction of justice. And so the first court appearance, they had, no, it wasn't the first one, it was like the second, and the second one they actually took him back to jail. So what happened was they had all three cops that were there, they had all of them take the stand or whatever, and then they had me take the stand, and I admitted, and to everybody and the judge, that the weed was mine and
yeah.
that they had arrested the wrong person, blah 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 blah. So they dropped the possession and the paraphernalia charges, and they hit him with obstruction of justice, and boom, threw him back in jail. And mind you, they
Ah,
waited until he was the last person to be called up there.
dude.
So, and
Those court dates suck,
they were letting
man.
people go that were, drunk driving and shit like that. They were just, you pay a fine and you can walk. It's like, what the fuck? It's crazy. And not to mention, I want to throw this statistic out there. Uh so Maryland passed medical in 2017. In 2018, even after medical passed, 18,000 people got arrested. Possession in Maryland.
What?
98% of that number in Baltimore was African American.
Dude, 98?
98%.
Fuck, man. How many white people are out there?
Not many in Baltimore.
Yeah, but still, it's like, fuck, dude, like, that's terrible, dude, like,
Yeah. So I just want to throw that out there. Like,
thank
things
you for providing some numbers too, like, we like
people
that
think
shit,
that,
you know?
like, okay, I support legalization, but if it's not done the right, then what's the point in doing it? We can't keep writing laws that are only to benefit people that look like me.
Yes.
You know, we
I
can't
look
keep.
white too, man, and I gotta, I gotta say that out loud too on my podcast. I am, like, I got called white boy growing up on my res, you know what I mean? Like, it's I accept that, but, the only time I really was fucked with was in Idaho or around my res, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Cops would see my feathers hanging from my rear view and instantly, "Fuck this kid, I know he has something on him. We're gonna shake him down, we're gonna fuck with him." And, when I moved to Oregon, it was totally the opposite. When a cop pulled me over and I had my card, "Are you over your
Wow.
possession limit?" And I pull out my fucking bag of weed and I had like a quarter ounce, like, "This is what I got." It's like,
Yeah.
"Alright, continue on your way."
Yeah,
You're not supposed to drive under the speed. I was driving 64 in a 65 in the left lane or something,
and they
and
pulled you over for that?
yeah, and I was like, he had to be bored, but he would just like,
Wow.
This kid is being safe," and it's just strange because coming from Idaho, like, I knew I was going to jail if I was in the next state over, and
Right,
and in this state, it was like, you're cool because you have this piece of paper and you paid the dollars, and, like, it just showed me that, yeah, government red tape sucks in most situations, but in that situation, going through that process, and it was worth it because it was
right,
like, "Holy fuck," and it it's cool because I felt, like, special, but I also feel like everyone in the country should have that same feeling of not being in fear or paranoid when they get
right.
pulled over just because they have weed on their car or in their
Oh my gosh,
person, you
that was
know?
the best that was the best thing about living in Colorado and living here
Yeah.
in DC is like I can have weed on me and nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, man.
Like no one fucking cares. What is the big deal? I smoke weed in public in DC all the time. And you know what me and my friends say? That is the smell of
Y The smell of what?
that is the smell of freedom.
Yes, it is, man. Hell yeah. Goddamn right, man. Cause for real, like, and I say this every show almost if it comes to the topic, but I feel like federal legalization needs to allow for people to grow their own, you know? Because most people are gonna, they're gonna go to the store, but you need to have the option to grow your own too. That's what I would like
Right.
to do.
I wanna let's see. I know you guys want maybe
Oh,
we grow
tight. That's your
like it.
spot? You got plants going?
Yeah, so upstairs we've got a bunch growing up there where we grow
Tight,
our
girl,
cannabis.
tight.
And back here is the garden where we've got like vegetables growing and flowers.
Very fucking cool,
Yes.
yo.
And we got
Tight.
fire pit.
Dope, man.
We have lots of fun
Dope.
out here for sure.
The excellent use of space, Lady Furnish. Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
trying to be trying to use my green thumb this year.
Same, man. Same. It's been getting still cold up here in Spokane like a bitch. Like the past week, it was like fucking 40 degrees, fucking storming, raining and shit. So I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I feel like I'm just gonna have to get some starts and do the garden in like a couple more weeks when I'm sure it's gonna be warm enough to not.
It's
Cause dude,
still a
it
little
is.
chilly over here too. I will.
Yeah, it's fucking cold still.
We'll have like a couple really nice hot days and then it'll rain and be cold and it's
Yeah,
all windy and it's very interesting this year.
yeah. So, what else would you like to share as far as like cannabis inequality and whatnot? Like we're almost to an hour. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know it's late over there, and then I know Mitch and Jess gotta shake home too sooner or later. So
I would just say, let your voice be heard. Like be sure to vote, especially when it comes to local elections because
yes,
your local delegates are those you can actually build relationships with and get laws passed. Like I go and lobby in Annapolis all the time and this year we were successful in raising the decrim limit to an ounce.
tight.
So it went from 10 grams to an ounce, and we are still battling. We almost got the expungement bill passed, but the governor vetoed it. Um,
Damn it.
so yeah, but we're gonna try to override it. What one of the delegates has discussed with me. But I would just say like always be involved. Like don't ever think that your voice is too small. Just try to be involved in your local community as much as possible. And if you want to see change, it starts with you.
No doubt. Good advice, Lady Furnish. Good advice.
Thank you.
Yeah, man, like serious, man. Good vibes and like, I gotta send this episode to Jackson. I don't know if he's listening, but he was my old boss, my old roommate, and real cool cat who's about that political process, and
Right on.
yeah,
Oh
man,
yeah,
he
and the plugs. Don't forget if you want to get involved, it's decrimnaturedc.org.
yep,
Check out the website, check out our social media, Crim Nature DC. I'm Lady Furnish. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel that unfortunately I'm haven't been very active on lately because life has been extremely crazy.
it's all good.
But yeah, Lady Furnish. You can search me and find me anywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, hit us up, Luke, like, can we have you back sometime, like, 6
Oh, for
months after
sure. I
the bill
really
passes, you know? Like, we'd be like, "Yeah, man, chalk it up as a dub," like,
yeah, after it passes, I'm totally down to podcast.
okay, cool. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to let us interview you on our show. And like,
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a
yeah,
pleasure.
dude, serious, like good vibes. And shout out to Callie, man, for
Yeah, for
hooking it
sure.
up.
Thanks.
Yeah. And that's her social media. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I'm gonna do my outro dance. This was the 58th episode of Concerned Dabs Podcast. I was your host, Katie M. Kane. Our guest tonight was Lady Furnish. She is a lobbyist and activist for the cannabis community and equality in the cannabis industry. I got to give a shout out to my guys in production, Mitchell Wilson and Jesse Curry. This has been a